Good morning, afternoon, and evening to our viewers online. Thank you to Renaissance Capital for hosting us today. I'm Tom Blackwell, and it's my great pleasure to have a chance to speak to Alexander Shulgin, the CEO of Ozon, who I think is one of the most exciting companies in the market today and a recent entrant to the public capital markets. Alexander, great to see you. Thank you for being with us today.
Hello, Tom. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
So as I mentioned, Alexander, you IPO'd very successfully at the end of last year, for which congratulations. And actually, I would say a lot of people have credited Ozon with having effectively reopened the Russian IPO market, I guess, for which thank you. But let me ask you, how is life as a public company, and what would you say have been some of the most important developments to your business since you went public?
Sure, thank you. So we had a fantastic start to the year with 135% GMV growth in Q1, which was the sixth quarter in a row with GMV growth exceeding 100%. We are very encouraged by our progress to date and raised our GMV guidance for the full year to 100% or over. In our business, marketplace remains the core growth engine, and we saw a number of sellers quadruple on our platform year over year in Q1. And the very high growth rate continues, obviously. Infrastructure is very important in this business because it provides fast and reliable delivery, which people enjoy. So recently we opened a fulfillment center in Far East in Khabarovsk. Now we provide fast delivery to all regions of Russia with 100 million people covered by fast and reliable delivery. We continue to expand infrastructure in Moscow. This month in July, we opened our new ever largest fulfillment center in Moscow to accommodate even larger assortment and so on. So huge opportunity for growth, and the whole company is focused on achieving the growth rates. Long term, we wish to aspire a milestone of 500,000 sellers on our platform, which we believe is definitely achievable based on number of businesses that operate in Russia, which means that assortment could expand to 200 million SKUs or more than that. And our mid to long-term aspiration of GMV is 2.5 trillion rubles in mid to long term. We do not, by the way, we do not plan to limit ourselves to Russia only. We think there is great value in onboarding sellers and customers from neighboring countries to build this unified marketplace which caters to everyone. And this year we are opening operations in Belarus and Kazakhstan, but we will not limit ourselves to these two countries.
No, that's fantastic. So you've mentioned Khabarovsk and also some of the neighboring countries. And so if we have time later, maybe we'll come back to this question of regional and expansion. But coming back maybe to the IPO. So at the time of the listing, you raised around $1 billion. And then a few months later, you raised a further 750 million via a convertible bond issue. Can you give us some color in terms of how you're using these funds or how you intend to use these funds going forward?
Sure. Infrastructure and technology are very important drivers of the business growth and also of achieving high efficiency. So obviously we plan to invest in building more fulfillment capacity and more logistics capacity and invest in information technology, meaning data centers, equipment, and so on. So in 2021, we plan to invest between 20 to 25 billion rubles in infrastructure, meaning fulfillment centers and sorting centers on logistics side and information technology. Longer term, we plan to build the network of about 1 million square meters of fulfillment capacity. On top of this, we built new verticals like fintech and express delivery of grocery items and non-grocery as well.
Yeah, I wonder if I can pick up on that. You mentioned the new verticals in fintech. Could you maybe give us a little bit more in terms of your thinking here and what Ozon's strategy is around fintech and maybe other verticals?
We believe that fintech is highly complementary to e-commerce proposition for both sides of the marketplace, for sellers and for buyers. On the buyer side of the marketplace, our core product here is Ozon Card, a debit card. We have already issued 1 million cards. This is a very good retention tool for us, about 60%, with about 60% higher frequency of orders with people who use Ozon Card compared to other payment methods. There is also buy now, pay later installment product integrated in Ozon, developed by our fintech team also. These are two main verticals on buy side. On the seller side, providing capital to the sellers in partnership with multiple banks is the key product that we developed here. Recently, we also announced acquisition of a bank, marking a new milestone in development of our financial services. This deal will help Ozon to expand the range and improve quality of both B2B and B2C products, as we aim to become the platform of choice on financial side for buyers and sellers. With the banking license, we will be able to fully integrate fintech solutions, continue to partner with banks, by the way, into Ozon application. That's on fintech. Another very important area of development for us is providing faster delivery. We develop a network of dark stores in Moscow, and not only in Moscow, with 1 hour delivery. These dark stores also provide, they store and we are selling grocery items, fresh and frozen and so on, with 1 hour delivery. And again, faster delivery is a big trend in the market. Obviously, we need to provide this service to our customers. Now the whole territory of Moscow is covered with 1 hour delivery, and we are starting our regional expansion with first city to enter, St. Pete, which we announced about a week ago.
Yeah, maybe since you mentioned the St. Petersburg again in the regional expansion, can I maybe just have a quick follow-up question around that and ask you just how you see further regional expansion across Russia? Obviously, it's an incredibly vast market and vast territory, and so no shortage of challenges when you're rolling out the regional expansion. But how are you thinking about that?
So on regional expansion, if I understood your question correctly, it's very important to provide fast and reliable delivery. Therefore, we're developing fulfillment centers, a network of fulfillment centers, and then we'll also do dark stores and also logistics capabilities for sellers, so that any business in Russia can provide fast delivery to all of these 100 million of customers in Russia and probably beyond Russian borders as well. Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure I got the question correctly. So.
No, that's great. It's just interesting to think about how you're thinking about the further expansion there, given that we could come out of the St. Petersburg announcement. But let me come to another question, which I know is a question that's on a lot of people's minds. So you've obviously been growing extremely rapidly, which is great, and very successfully. At the same time, the business today is not profitable. How are you thinking about profitability going forward?
Well, in this business, sustainable profitability comes with scale. We have seen costs as percentage of GMV declining for several quarters already. For example, in Q1, our EBITDA loss in ruble terms was comparable to Q1 2020, so a year ago, whilst the whole business, GMV of the business grew 135%, which means that the fixed and semi-fixed costs, they decline as percent of GMV with scale. So achieving faster, larger scale faster is extremely important. So we can turn profitable very quickly if we need to, but long term, I think it's in the best interest of the shareholders to maximize growth of the company, and this is what we do, developing the marketplace and developing the infrastructure to accelerate this dilution of fixed and semi-fixed costs. So, yeah.
Sorry. No, I cut you off, Alexander.
Well, as we discussed, the objective is to expand the assortment and provide fast delivery of this large assortment to customers, which means that retention of customers increasing. By the way, frequency of purchase is growing about 30% year-over-year in Q1 compared to Q1 last year. And we have seen growth of frequency for many years. Cohort sustainably improve from year to year for 5 years already, which means that as frequency improves and density of orders improves, costs go down as percent of GMV, which makes the economics work. We have seen this in multiple examples of this model work in different countries of the world, in Western Europe, in the United States, in Asia.
That's brilliant, Alexander. I've actually slightly lost your sound. Is it just on my end?
I hear you clearly.
Yes, you're back indeed. Thank you very much. So thank you for all of that around profitability. I think that's great guidance and great color in terms of how you're thinking about it. I want to address another topic, which is obviously top of mind for everyone around. So in Russia, it really feels like we're entering into a new wave of COVID, right? And presumably with potential restrictions and mobility limitations that might come along with that. So what do you think might be the impact on your business if we do go into another significant wave, for example, as we had last year?
Well, what happened in Q2 last year when there was lockdown, we saw a very high spike in share of courier delivery because as people were staying at home, obviously courier delivery was a preferred channel. And we were ready for that with substantial infrastructure investments that we did in previous periods. So we were able to provide the reliable service with fast delivery to people, which resulted in GMV growth rate of about 189% year over year. I'd like to say that we'll have a spike like that, but definitely this lockdown situation accelerates. I had a technical glitch here.
Yeah, but I believe you're back. I can hear you.
Okay. Now we are substantially more ready to any restrictions if they happen, with substantially larger infrastructure capacity, more sorting stations, more couriers, and so on. So I think that company now is substantially better shape if lockdown starts again. From safety perspective, we were the first company actually to introduce contactless delivery in the Russian market, well ahead of COVID situation in 2019. And obviously people like the service, especially in current reality. And we implemented all required safety measures in our fulfillment and logistics infrastructure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I wonder if actually I can ask you, so some of the companies that have definitely been hit by COVID are in the SME sector. I think it's been a challenge for SME businesses. At the same time, I know SMEs are an important part of your business. What is your take generally in terms of the state of the SME sector in Russia today? And then maybe coming back on more specifically onto Ozon, how do you see the potential growth for Ozon in this space?
Mm-hmm. As we meet our sellers in different places of Russia, in Moscow, St. Pete, Kazan, and other regional cities, we have seen that access to platforms like Ozon, and especially Ozon, was a very big boost to their business in 2020, when, for example, their offline outlets were not able to operate, while e-commerce was demonstrating very high growth. And I personally heard some people saying that Ozon was literally saving their businesses. In this aspired number of 500,000 sellers that we want to achieve, a substantial number, more than 50% for sure, will be SMEs. So currently, share of marketplace in our business reached 58% as percent of GMV, compared to 33% in Q1 last year, and 90% of our assortment, even 90%, 90 million SKUs, comes from sellers, with more than 50% for sure of this business SMEs. So I would say that things that we do, technology, the platform, logistics infrastructure, is a huge enabler of growth of small and medium businesses, which enables them to compete against large multinational companies, which was like, it's a massive change compared to what to their competitive abilities, say, 10 years ago.
That's interesting. I wonder if I'd like to get your view on another big theme that's been on the top of minds for a lot of Russian companies in the capital markets, which is this sort of unprecedented rise in the retail investment in Russia. So this was a topic that, I think was something we were discussing for many years, but really only in the last year or so, this became a real reality. And I believe even in your IPO, obviously it was principally an institutional deal, but I believe there was still some reasonable participation of retail investors. And it was one of the first Russian IPOs, I think, where that was the case. So I'm interested in your sort of impressions from having dealt with retail investors and looking forward, how big of an opportunity is this trend for a company like yours?
Well, we're also a consumer brand with like 80 million people in Russia having access to our service and 16 million active customers in Q1 this year. So obviously, one of the reasons I think people decide to invest in Ozon is our quality of service, which means it's a kind of double responsibility, not only as the company, like from the investment side, but also from the quality of service side. So we understand the responsibility, and it's very important to provide even higher, better service, and for people who are also our shareholders as well. But I think this boom in retail investment is also, to some extent, helps Ozon on the capital side.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we can shift gear a bit, and for any business like yours, for your continued success, your continued growth, such a big component of that success is people. And I think that there is growing competition from across the board for the kind of talent that you need to be able to make a business like yours work. So I wonder if you can talk about sort of generally, how do you compete for talent in the market, and where do you compete? And sort of more specifically, what do you have to do to make Ozon the kind of company that can really attract and retain the top talent that makes you so successful?
Competition for talent is a reality, obviously, especially on the technology side. So hiring engineers is a challenge for, I think, basically every company in Russia, I think globally as well, simply because technology becomes an essential part of every business. There are no IT companies, no more. Every company has to be a technology company. With very high growth rate of Ozon, I think, and also once Ozon became a public company, our ability to compete for people has substantially improved. We plan to have about 3,000 people on technology side, engineering team of Ozon by the end of this year. And our ability to attract and retain has substantially improved. We also do a lot on building the internship program, because it's very important to onboard people as fast as possible and as young as possible, because new ideas come from younger people. So, yeah, we work with multiple universities to provide internship possibilities for students.
And are you finding, where would you say is the primary competition for talent? As you said, every company needs to be a technology company in a way. So are you really feeling the impact of industrial companies that are going through their technological sort of industrial revolution? I mean, do you feel them as real competitors as well for the talent that you need?
Mm-hmm. Well, given very high growth rate of our technology team means that we collect people from different companies, so probably we are more on the offensive side in our hiring plans. What I mean on technology competition, that like cost of retention will continue to increase. Here, by the way, our employee equity incentive program helps a lot.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that can be a significant factor. Let's talk a little bit as we start to wrap up around kind of competition and so on. So the session that happens next in the conference today will be around ecosystems, the battle of ecosystems and competition. So I wonder if you can, put Ozon into that context. So how do you sort of see yourself as part of this kind of battle of ecosystems that we'll be discussing more in the next session?
Well, if we narrow it more to e-commerce market, still in the nascent stage. Penetration of e-commerce is about 8%, if I remember correctly. But I mean, it's substantially lower than in all developed markets. around the globe, including US, Asia, Europe, whatever. So, which means that the market will continue to grow very fast, and there will be lots of space for companies to compete and to grow as well. I wouldn't say that there is fierce competition now in the commerce area, despite lots of news and press releases. So far it's a land grab situation given very high growth rate of the market and also very low consolidation of the market. Lots of opportunities for growth. We see ourselves as a platform, not an ecosystem. What I mean here is that our objective is to provide any service that Ozon provides at will to our sellers, which means that they can use our platform and not use our logistics infrastructure and not use our fulfillment center if they want, or use our logistics without the need to list their products on Ozon marketplace. So we believe in power of competition and power of choice without any bundling of services. From competitive situation, as we discussed, I think for several years to come, at least, the main objective and the main threat for the company is execution on our plan. Internal factors. If we execute well, we'll be able to demonstrate very high growth rates. Because demand from the seller community and customer side, buyer side of the market is immense, which is demonstrated by the growth rate.
Yeah, maybe continuing on this theme around competition. I think one of the things that makes Russia really sort of stand out as a market in the world is that in most other countries you have a few big global players that dominate, whether it's in the search space or whether it's e-commerce, the Amazons and so on. Whereas Russia has been one of a few markets in the world where you've had local players that actually sort of dominate the space. Do you think that will continue? Why do you think that is? And do you think that will continue to be the case, or might you see further increased competition from some of the global players, US or otherwise?
Hard to comment here, but I think Russia had a very strong, has very strong IT engineering culture, which enabled growth of domestic IT companies like Yandex and Mail.ru and many other businesses, to name. So, and the quality of the product that they develop is competitive versus global peers, including large international brands. That's first. Second, it's a large market, but unique in a way, idiosyncratic, which means that it requires special effort by global companies to enter this market. But it's not huge like Asian market, like China, for example, or Western Europe. So it requires lots of effort, but it's not that large, which creates a unique situation for domestic technology companies and not only technology companies to operate. And while there is lots of technology talent, there are multiple providers of service. So multiple players in e-commerce, multiple players in other segments, which creates a unique situation by the way, for small and medium businesses, for example, because in this competition, the quality of offering that they have, both on technology side and logistics and marketing and whatever, has substantially improved even in the last 3 years, which means that opportunity for growth for both for small and medium businesses and for platforms like ours is very large. This is what I believe in.
We're coming up on time. I'm going to give you one more sort of open-ended question, which is just to look into the future. In 3 to 5 years' time, what are some of the things that make you most excited about the future in terms of opportunities for Ozon?
Well, first of all, is the growth opportunity. This is one of the reasons by the way, why I moved from Yandex to Ozon in 2017. I think we're still in the very beginning of the growth of e-commerce platforms like Ozon and their impact on overall economy. And second, what I'm really excited with is really the way our company enables growth of small and medium businesses. We really see them grown very fast, achieving very high turnover, and catering to millions of customers. This was never available before. So it's a massive change to the overall economy. Also, I'm very excited about new verticals that we develop. They're still very small, I mean, so far, because they're very new, like fintech and groceries and fast delivery. But I think that customers appreciate this on both sides of the marketplace, which means that immense opportunity there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier in the interview, it does feel like we maybe are entering into another kind of lockdown. But I know that we'll take a lot of comfort knowing that there is a player like Ozon out there, because we know you'll look after us, however shut down and locked down we are in our flats. So it's Alexander, it's a great pleasure to talk to you as always. It's a very exciting business and clearly much still to come. So we wish you all the very best with it. And thank you again to Renaissance Capital for hosting us today.
Thank you very much, Tom, and have a good health.
Yeah, be well, be healthy, as we say. Yeah.
Knowledge is information, but not all information turns into knowledge. Today, every company leaves digital footprints in hundreds of different sources. But this information by itself does not tell you who it is you're looking at and what the risks of doing business with them are. Businesses can't exist in a vacuum. They need employees, customers, partners, contractors, investors. Good counteragents help a company succeed, create products, make profit, expand business opportunities. But what about bad ones? 49% of organizations around the world say that they've been victims of fraud or economic crime. 2/3 of Russian companies say they've encountered economic crime in the past 2 years. This is significantly higher than the global average. Every year, 15% of companies simply disappear, whether on their own initiative or because they're forced to do so by tax bodies, often leaving unpaid debts. If you want to minimize your risk, you need to find and analyze every scrap of information you can, identifying, analyzing, collecting facts. Processing big data is impossible without qualified specialists, experience, time, expensive equipment, new technology, machine learning, graphs. Spark Interfax gathers information from all available sources and converts it into knowledge, allowing you to see the world of business in its entirety with all its risks and opportunities. And there's no doubt that tomorrow we'll be able to understand the world of business even better, thanks to the emerging digital economy, cutting-edge technology, and the availability of new information about the lives of companies. Knowledge decreases risks and creates trust, the foundation of any successful business.